we will start with the spacing. So here we will be talking about to increase or decrease the range of combat based on different factors. That is stamina, like how much or how little stamina did you have, health, weapon range, and what you're trying to do, like in game. So we can start with stamina and health because they are very similar. So like if you're like okay with being this close to your enemy, like that's the optimal range, because here it's harder for them to see fast feints, it's harder for them to read axles and stuff, and you can also get a lot of jabs on them. So but let's say that you're like 30% HP or below, or the same with stamina. Like if you're staying up here, you're risking a lot, especially if you're low on stamina. It's easy for them to just axle you with some tricks I will show you later with the footwork, where you can't counter very well, and they can also jab you, which means that you're losing both health and you're losing stamina, which is that means it's super risky to be up close like this. You want to maybe play at like the maximum of your weapon range, at least until you get your stamina back. If you're low on stamina, you can play on this range. It's best because it's easy to read axles, it's easy to read drags, it's super, like you can't get jabbed at this range. At least with, like, if you're playing max range with heavy mace, you can't get jabbed here. It's the same with like messer and stuff. And like it's super safe to play from this range. So trying to regain stamina, you want to stay out here. You want to always like use your footwork to stay here. If he starts pushing me, you can run forward now. Okay? I want to run around. Like even if he starts attacking, I just turn around and I counter or I block. Like if you try to attack me, I do this and I continue running. Like while running, you aren't losing any stamina. So like just running away is a good way to regain stamina. Like it's nothing about pride or anything like that. Anyways, so with health, it's a bit different, but at the same time similar. Like when you're low on health, say that you're 30%, you want to play pretty far away because you don't want to get like insta-axled, or you don't want to get like a dumb lockout or something if you're playing close. It's harder for them to run away from your swings or run towards your swings while playing on this range compared to close. And like in general, if you're low on health, you want to play as safe as possible. Try to play on their mistakes, because if somebody sees that you're like, say that you're 15 health, it's really low, they will be like, they will start getting cocky and stuff and trying to get stupid hits on you, like kicks for example. If you're playing from this range, they can't kick you. If you're like, they can't jab you or anything, and it's super easy to punish kicks and jabs from this range as well, by just doing axle. If you're low on health and high on stamina, you can use dashes as well to just keep this distance going. Like if he tries to kick, I usually dash backwards. So let's say I'm here. Even if he hits, I still gain some distance. So let's do it again. And I can axle instantly. Like even you can do the dash cancel as well if you want to. So let's do it. So like if they aren't prepared, you can get some free hits there. You can also just dash backwards to gain distance. You can dash to the sides if he's running towards you. Like you should be aware that dashes, as you can see there at my stamina bar, it drains quite a lot of stamina. But if you have a lot of stamina and you're like willing to drain it a little bit to stay alive, it's worth using. So let's move on to weapon ranges then. Basically, here is like, this is about, you want to play based on what weapon and how much range you have. You want to play differently, different ranges. For now, right now, let's see if I can hit you. Yeah, I can hit you right here, Pain. And if you try to slash me, yeah. So like, if I can outrange him just by staying at this, Like, you don't have to stay here all the time, but you should be aware where your weapon's most optimal range is. So I know that if we're like at this range and he starts an attack, I can run away, maybe similar to a Yab skip. Um, and this means I can like run away, start an attack, and outrange him. This works very well with a weapon like War Club because it's insanely fast and it has insane range as well, which means you can like dodge around. That's what a lot of people do. They just dodge around and outrange you. They play on their range. Versus something like a War Club, you always want to be careful because they will gamble a lot. But you also want to try to keep staying in this range. Because if you allow them to get to like this range, you're gonna have a hard time because they can just run around and you're not gonna be able to catch up to them. So like for against long weapons with a lot of range, you want to stay as close as possible because it's a bigger chance they fuck up. So the last one on this spacing thingy is you should space and increase or decrease range based on what you are trying to do. So let's say I'm trying to like condition with the yabs. So like if you attack me, Pain. So let's say I'm just doing that. I can't do that if I'm at this distance. Like even if he slashes me, you can slash. Like I can't if I'm trying to riposte into jab. So like you have to keep in mind what am I trying to do so that you don't get like outranged. Because if you slash me again, like me jabbing here just gives him back the initiative. I lost a lot of stamina because I riposte jabbed and I hit nothing. So I have to keep in mind, okay, what's my next move? Like if I'm going for those like riposte jabs, I gotta be here, or at least like around this range. If I'm trying to outrange him, I want to play around here. If I want to like axle spam with 2 condition, I should be here, because at longer ranges, your axles and drags are much more easily read or read. So like you want to be here so that he has trouble seeing the animations. So let's go on to weapon range, which is kind of what we talked about. That is like learn to play based on your and your opponent's weapon range. So this is basically if I'm playing greatsword, which is pretty long range, and Pain is playing heavy mace, which is like medium range. I want to know that like my optimal, unless I'm going for axles or something like that, or I'm trying to condition him, my optimal range is right here, because this is where I can outrange him. Like if he moves forward, I move backward, and it goes on like that. So like if you strike me again from here, like I can just move backwards a little bit, and he misses his attack, and he goes unless he combos like that, he goes into recovery. So something you should be aware of is people just like miss their attack on purpose, so that they can combo you and hit you the second time. And this is like, it's a very unusual thing, I would say, because there's not a lot of people doing it, but it's something you should look out for. Either way, like even if he combos, I can just stay on this range and try to hit him. Like it's some type of like golden range where you can hit them but they can't hit you. And like this works as long as you have longer range than your opponent, it works. Let's go over here and pick up a battle axe so I can show how to play when you are in a range disadvantage. So battle axe has very short range, probably one of the shortest out of the 200 weapons. So if I'm playing versus Pain right now, he's using heavy mace and I'm using battle axe. I don't want to be in this range. Like this range I could be if I'm trying to regain stamina or if I'm low on health. But usually if I'm planning to do something, I want to be up here. At least here. Like, this is my optimal range. Because Battle Axe is really strong on like axles and stuff, because it drains so much stamina. So you want to be close almost always. But we'll talk more about like axles and conditioning in another video. So then we have drags and axles. Like, how do you use footwork to make them better and worse for your opponent and for yourself? We will start with the axles, I think. So a normal axle would be like this if you block paint, right? So it won't be a visible speed difference maybe, but it's so much harder to catch. So a normal again, this, that might be what everyone is doing. So if you use footwork to make the axle even faster, it will look something like this. And it's quite simple. If your attack comes from the left, like this, you walk towards the right to make it hit your opponent sooner. And if your attack comes from the right, you walk towards the left. So let's do one from the right to left as well. Pain, can you block? So just like that. Super simple. And this just makes it a tiny bit faster, but it makes it so much harder to counter. Which means if you're playing a stamina heavy weapon like Battle Axe, where you drain a lot when your opponent riposts, that means that if you get like 2 or 3 of these, they will instantly get low on stamina. They will start early countering and they will soon panic. With Heavy Mace, it doesn't drain super much stamina, but still useful, because like you always want your opponent to be low on stamina. So it's a super useful way to make your axles faster. So if let's say my opponent is doing one of these axles, if you block please, they're doing one of these normal ones. What I can do is I can run away from it to give myself more time to counter it. So if we do it again, and now you try to run away, see, like it might be just fractions of a second that you gain, but it's still a big difference. So like just getting that extra little bit of time, like just if they're spam axling you and running around you like this, you can run the opposite way and just try to back off, run away from the axles, and try to counter as much as possible. What you could also do if they're spam axling you, you can just riposte into another attack. So like if you give me a slash, your pain, I can just riposte into overhead. So like it might catch some people off guard if they're not prepared for it. Let's then talk about drags. Drags is, there's like, you can either run into drags or you can run away from drags. So can you do a light drag for me, Pain? So I can run away from it. Can you do it again? So once again, I run away, and normally I'll attack this time. So do it again, and I hit. So you can also do lockouts, which is stupidly hard, so we won't attempt it. But basically, lockouts is that you counter at like the end of their swing. So if let's just counter one attack so they can see. So you see that he gets staggered a little bit. The lockout basically means my attack will come and hit him at the exact moment that he gets staggered, so he can't attack or he can't block or do anything. So by running away you can force one lockout, but it's quite hard, so we won't go into that today. There's also another way to play with drags, which is walking or running towards them. If you give me a drag, just a light drag, there we go. So let me heal up really quick, and we can show like the difference between running away or running towards it and just standing still. Because if you're standing still and somebody light drags you, and you early counter of course, you will probably get hit. If you early counter and you run towards it, it's a bigger chance that you won't get hit. And just running towards it means that you won't have to feint all the time to catch light drags like this, right? Which a lot of people do. So let's try again. Let's do one more. So there I get hit because I'm standing still. Let's do again. Let's do a couple of more. Alright, 2 more. So just walking or running towards it means that I can counter it much more easily. And like if you're feeling that your counter window is about to pass, you just feint. Like it's not that big of a deal if you feint once or twice. But it's just a nice trick to use to your advantage. So like I would say running away from drags doesn't work usually against like very high skilled players because they will just follow you with their weapon, right? So Pain, if you try to run away really quick. Okay. You see, I just follow him because I see that he's running away from the drag. If I'm not following him, he runs away like that. So against good players, it's probably not worth running away and trying to like gamble the drag. I would say it's more secure just to run towards the drag or just feinting. Against like lower tier players, I would say that running away works very good. You can also run away just to get a jab in. It's a lot more risky, but it's doable. And like it's kind of a gamble. Either way. So let's try again let's do a heavy drag this time. You see, even if I run towards it and I counter it, if I just do one attack, it won't counter. So against heavy drags, let's do it again. I need to run towards it and feint 2 times. So like, you have to also be able to see if it's, or you can listen to the audio clues, whether it's heavy or if it's a light drag. But you need to be aware, like if it's a heavy drag, you need to run towards it and feint. If it's a light drag, you only need to run towards it. And I would say like this is very usable against almost all people because everyone light drags basically. So yeah, I think this is it. I don't know, Pain, if you have anything to add? No? Okay. So I think that's it. In the next video we will be talking about conditioning, mostly with heavy mace and battle axe, because those 2 are my main weapons. But yeah, thanks for watching and I'll see you guys in the next video.